One invades your cells like a hacker, the other grows on you like a parasite. But both can make you sick in completely different ways. Ever wondered what really happens when a virus or fungus enters your body? You're about to find out. The microscopic world is full of surprises. In today's matchup, we put two of those tiny terrors head to head. It's fungus vs. virus. Who would win inside your body? First up, our minuscule marauder, the virus. To understand how a virus attacks, let's start with the basics. First off, despite being microscopic, viruses aren't alive by themselves. Sure, they have genetic material, but outside of a host, they're basically a chemical cocktail. No metabolism, no reproduction, no life. They are teeny tiny packages of pure evil. Think of them as malicious software. A computer virus, if you will. That's why it makes sense that they invade your cells and hijack them. But how do these cellular interlopers get inside? Well, they come in all shapes and sizes, each with different ways to breach your body's defenses. Some sneak into your respiratory system through your nose or mouth. Once inside, they target cells lining your throat or lungs. For example, rhinoviruses. The common cold virus enters through your nose, binds to cells in your upper respiratory tract, and hijacks them. Then it uses the cell's machinery to replicate, make copies of itself and then some. These new viruses burst out of the infected cell, go on to infect others, and before you know it, you've got yourself a nasty cold. Other viruses get in through direct contact. For instance, the varicella zoster virus enters through cuts or abrasions on your skin. Once inside, it heads straight for your nerve cells. It uses these cells to replicate and lay low, kind of like a Trojan horse. After establishing its beachhead, the virus travels to your lymph nodes, where it continues to multiply. From there, it can spread throughout your body via your bloodstream, leading to infections like chickenpox. And lastly, some viruses simply enter through mucous membranes. For example, the human papillomavirus, or HPV, enters through cuts and abrasions on mucous membranes. And once inside, it targets the cells of your skin and mucous membranes. This can lead to warts, or in worse cases, cervical cancer. Now, while viruses have various ways to infiltrate your body, they're all pretty small. In fact, they're way tinier than bacteria or fungi. Most viruses are between 20 and 400 nanometers in size. To put that into perspective, bacteria are typically between 0.5 and 5 micrometers. That means a bacterium is at least 10 times larger than a typical virus. In other words, viruses are absolutely microscopic. You need an electron microscope to see one clearly. So now you know how viruses get in and why they're so tiny. Let's talk about what happens next. How do they actually take over your cells? Well, picture this. You're a healthy cell, minding your own business, synthesizing proteins, replicating your DNA, just doing your thing. Then suddenly, bam, a virus crashes the party and turns your cell into a virus factory. How does it pull off this hostile takeover? It starts with attachment. The virus latches onto the surface of the cell, kind of like a key fitting into a lock. But instead of opening a door, it triggers a cascade of events that ends with your cell's destruction. After attachment comes entry. The virus either gets sucked into the cell or simply merges with the cell membrane. Once inside, it sheds its protective shell, revealing its genetic material. Now the virus starts rewriting the cell's genetic code, directing it to produce viral proteins and replicate viral RNA or DNA. The cell becomes a virus factory, pumping out new viral particles which go on to infect other cells. This process can lead to various illnesses from the flu to COVID-19 to HIV. The severity of these illnesses depends on several factors, including the virus's nature and your immune system's strength. Some viruses, like rhinoviruses, cause mild symptoms like a runny nose or sore throat. Others, like influenza viruses, can lead to fever, muscle aches, and fatigue. And some viruses, like HIV, target your immune system, directly weakening your body's defenses against all sorts of infections. Your body's defense system, also known as the immune system, tries to fight back against viruses. When you get infected, your immune cells identify the virus and launch a counterattack. They produce antibodies, which are specialized proteins designed to neutralize specific viruses. These antibodies circulate throughout your body, seeking out the virus to destroy. Along with antibodies, your body cranks up its temperature, often resulting in a fever. This helps create an inhospitable environment for the virus, making it harder for them to replicate. In addition, Your immune system has other weapons in its arsenal, like natural killer cells. These cells seek and destroy infected cells, displaying viral proteins on their surfaces. But sometimes the virus manages to evade these defenses, causing illness. Vaccines are another critical tool in the fight against viruses. Certain vaccines expose you to a weakened or inactive version of the virus, triggering your immune system to produce antibodies without causing illness. This prepares your body to quickly neutralize the virus if you're exposed to the real deal. But viruses are tricky little devils. They mutate often, making vaccines difficult to create and sometimes even useless. That's why it's so important to stay informed and follow health guidelines to protect yourself and others from infectious diseases. Next up, our second microscopic menace, the fungus. Unlike viruses, fungi are full-fledged living organisms. They belong to their own kingdom, distinct from plants, animals, and microbes. Molds, yeasts, and mushrooms are all examples of fungi. And unlike viruses, they don't need a host to survive. They can grow and reproduce on their own. Fungi usually enter your body through three primary routes: skin contact, inhalation, and moist areas like your mouth or genitals. Each route allows the fungus to establish itself in different parts of your body. Skin contact, for example, is a common way for fungi to enter, especially if your skin is damaged or moist. Athlete's foot, a fungal infection, enters through cracks in your skin, thrives in moist environments, and spreads through direct contact or contaminated surfaces. Inhalation is another way fungi can enter your body. When spores, which are like tiny seeds of the fungus, land in your lungs, it can lead to lung infections. This is more common in people with weakened immune systems, or those who regularly inhale fungal spores in occupational settings like farmers or lab workers. Yeast infections, on the other hand, commonly occur in moist areas like your mouth or genitals. For instance, Candida, a type of yeast, can cause oral thrush, which appears as white patches in your mouth. Genital yeast infections, often called vaginal candidiasis, cause itching, redness, and discharge. Fungal infections can be tricky because the fungi themselves are pretty tough. Unlike viruses, which aren't truly alive, fungi have cell walls and membranes. This means they need more than your immune system's antibodies to stop them. And unlike viruses, they tend to grow slower, making them harder to detect at first. Once inside your body, the fungus begins to grow. It feeds on your tissues and spreads using structures called hyphae, which are like tiny threads. As the fungus grows, it can cause damage and inflammation. This leads to the symptoms you associate with fungal infections, like the cracking and peeling of athlete's foot, the redness and discharge of a yeast infection, or the coughing and wheezing of a lung infection. Your body does try to stop the growth of fungi. Your immune system sends white blood cells to the site of infection to combat the fungus. But fungi have some tricks up their sleeves. For example, some fungi produce toxins that can paralyze your immune cells. Others can hide inside your cells, avoiding detection. And still, others form biofilms, which are like protective layers that make it hard for your immune system to penetrate. If a fungal infection isn't too severe, your body might be able to kick it out on its own. However, sometimes it needs a little help. Antifungal treatments can come in various forms, like creams, ointments, pills, or intravenous medications. These treatments target the fungus directly, stopping its growth and allowing your body's defenses to finish the job. So there you have it, a breakdown of how viruses and fungi attack your body. They may be microscopic, but the havoc they can wreak is anything but.
Now it's time to make your voice heard.
Comment below and let us know which microscopic marauder you think is the bigger threat. Is it the sneaky virus or the tenacious fungus? Don't forget to subscribe to be part of the fun. We'll bring you the latest in science, tech, and tech stories that matter. Thanks for watching. See you next time on #TheScienceStream, where curiosity meets clarity.